Hey guys, it's Crossroads here. I wanted to talk to you today about HIMS and HERS, ticker symbol HIMS, which is down about 25% at this moment on a big piece of news that came out. Let's talk about, of course, why it moved. Let's talk about what it might mean for the future for the company and the stock, and also what I'm doing and whether or not this is a buying opportunity. So let's take a look here. First, here's the stock, and you might see on your end, a different symbol. This is right before we open up at the market. It's down about 25%, which is a massive move for any stock, even for one like HIMS and HERS, which has been known for incredible volatility. Of course, it has very high short interest as well, and it swings wildly with its lower float. Just if you're new to HIMS, just know that it does this, but this is a little bit more, and there's a reason why. And so we came out today with this information from PR Newsline. Novo Nordisk terminated their collaboration with HIMS and HERS. We'll talk about the reasons why. We'll look at this posting in a little bit. But this is really interesting. On April 29th, so not that long ago, HIMS and HERS and Novo Nordisk announced a partnership. Now, it was not an exclusive partnership, but it allowed HIMS and HERS to sell their GLP-1 product at a discounted rate within platform. Lower margin product. I wasn't too excited as far as revenue. And of course, they partnered with Roe, with LifeMed, and some others as well. And what I thought was really interesting at the time was that this took off a big piece of risk from the table. Namely, HIMS and HERS has been in the target of a lot of these pharma companies like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, simply because they have compounded and compounded aggressively. Of course, the FDA ended up removing these GLP-1 products from the shortage list, which means that they can no longer be compounded under 503B exceptions, but they can under 503A, which is with medical necessity, in essence. It's supposed to be at a much lower volume rate. There's certain ramifications. I've talked about it before in the past in a video earlier. I'll try to link that in the description. But nevertheless, this is no longer the case. Now, where I thought, hey, the stock was de-risked at the time, and also this partnership indicates that there's probably going to be no lawsuits, and so the bears have missed out on their biggest bear case. Short interest nevertheless climbed, and then we had this today. So let's look at some of the wording and possible ramifications. So here's some of those direct quotes. It says, over 1 month into the collaboration, HIMS and HERS has failed to adhere to the law, which prohibits mass sales of compounded drugs under the false guise of personalization and are disseminating deceptive marketing that puts patient safety at risk. And so they go in and they talk about how they'll continue to work with others. So Roe, LifeMed, and others as well, just not HIMS. And it's all because of safety. Now, they do take some aim as far as the supply of some of the APIs and bulk ingredients. This is pretty disingenuous right here, just because it's like 70 to 80% of the ingredients, the APIs and the bulk ingredients for pharmaceuticals is sourced in China and India. So this is quite ridiculous. FDA never authorized it. They don't do that for compounding. So some of this is just legalese or to make Novo Nordisk look good. But there is something pretty interesting here in that first part where they talk about that HIMS and HERS has failed to adhere to the law. That sounds like a legal challenge to me. I think that a lawsuit is probably going to come. And as a result, we'll have to see what the ramifications are. Now, what has been happening, basically, there's a 503A pharmaceutical exception. And again, I'll link that in the video comments below, that allows HIMS and HERS and other compounding pharmacies to say, hey, if we have a customer that has a medical issue and cannot just take the normal Wegovy or semaglutide or whatever the product is, as a result, we can compound it. We can personalize it. So the personalization, it's not so much about personalization of 503A, it's about medical necessity. Yet you can see some of the ways that HIMS has marketed themselves. If you look at, for instance, what they've been doing with Meta or Facebook as far as marketing campaigns, if you look at the way that the website has been structured, if you look at the intake as far as new customers, it's pretty clear that they are trying to push a significant amount of volume through 503A. Now, I don't know how significant, and I have questions on that. That's one of the reasons why I'm very excited to see how they report in quarter two. This will actually be the first quarter that they have a sequential decline in revenue simply because they can't compound in bulk through 503B exceptions since that has been ended. But we'll see how rapidly they're able to do with 503A. And I would guess that they're going to be a little bit more cautious on this. There will be some sort of legal test. There's probably going to be a lot of headlines, and it might not just be Novo Nordisk that is in this lawsuit as well. We'll have to see how that shapes up. Again, there's no lawsuit right now. So what does this mean for the stock? Well, HIMS is already very volatile. It's a battleground stock. Bulls and bears are very, very divided. Bulls are right that long-term, there is a lot going for HIMS. It's a lot more than a weight loss company. Yet, nevertheless, if you look at the way that they guided, they were very concrete. It was very aggressive guidance, which worried me in quarter one because they built in over $700 million worth of revenue related to weight loss products. Now, they have some products outside of this as well and outside of the benefit from the compounding that they were doing. Yet, nevertheless, I thought that that was a pretty eye-catching number. So I was cautiously excited. HIMS has never missed on a revenue guide before. And so we'll have to see how they do over the course of the year. Yet, nevertheless, if they need to pull back from this, if their plan was, hey, let's do 503A as much as possible, even more so than what has been done in the past, that could lead to a legal challenge, which I think it will. And they may not be able to pass that test. I don't know whether or not they'll be able to succeed in this environment. And so as a result, HIMS will still grow. HIMS will still thrive as a platform. But over the short term, there may be a drag over both the stock and the company as well. So is this a buying opportunity? Well, again, it just depends on your time horizons and your risk tolerance. So again, the stock is down by about 25%. Low can always go lower. And especially on headline news, they have something in Wall Street called the rule of three or the 3-day rule that typically after a massive drop like this, they don't get it until maybe day 3. They just allow time for things to bottom out. Now with those, with many people shorting HIMS and HERS, I wouldn't be surprised if usually in this environment, they get even more greedy. They double down. And frankly, if there's a lawsuit coming, and it seems like with the language that there probably is, I think low can go lower here. So personally, the way that I'm playing this is I've actually sold some HIMS stock this morning. Yes, it was at a loss versus where it was last week. But keep in mind, I'm still up over 100%. I'd already taken some gains on HIMS and HERS just because it had flown so much. This isn't a tax advantage account for me. Yes, I'm still holding stock, but the stock is all just common shares. And it's basically 100% paid for at this point, plus some even more. Now, some of those gains, some of those things that I took off the table, depending how HIMS and HERS opens here in the next, well, it's actually open right now. We'll have to actually see where they dip to, but I'll probably sell some cash secured puts that I wouldn't mind if they fill at a lower amount. But I do think that we could probably see the 30s again at some point relatively soon. In fact, we're down 31% right now. So not that far away from 30s. Painful day to be a HIMS shareholder. Long-term, the picture is still very good. Short-term, there's some trouble. And that's usually exacerbated by headlines, by GLP-1 headlines specifically, and also lawsuit risks. So there you have it. What are you guys doing with your HIMS position? Are you looking to add? Are you looking for an entry? If so, I'm just kind of curious. If you ended up selling out your position just because of this and taking some gains, there's no wrong answer here. It's called individual investing for a reason. But nevertheless, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing. And until next time, happy investing.